Guys, like that rat song, I'm back for more here. That was a bad pun, dude.
I liked it. It was awesome. That was rock and roll.
Anyway, I'm back for more here at Replay Guitar Exchange, hanging out with my good friend Cliffhanger.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming in, Jason. It's always good to have you here, man.
Awesome, man. So, dude, there's one amp that I've just heard so much noise about, no pun intended, and that's the Boss Katana amp. So I've always wanted to just like really do kind of a deeper dive into it and really hear what this thing can do. So we've got the Boss Katana. This is the Artist MK2.
Yes, it is. This is probably one of the #1 selling amps at Replay. It's a great practice amp. It's got so many tonal options. You got the brown sound, you got great cleans, and a ton of effects. So it really covers all the corners that you need, as well as the power control, so you can play at low levels into the night. You can shred, and there should be no issues with bothering your neighbors or anything like that.
Actually, for you guys, I'm gonna be testing this through the 50 watt setting here. That seemed to be the best sound for this room and for what we're about to do. So, guys, I'm gonna plug in. I'm going to let you hear the core channels, and let's hear what this thing sounds like. All right, so I always like to start out with the clean channel, no matter what amp I'm playing through, even if it's meant for metal, which this amp is obviously versatile. It's meant for, a bunch of different styles, but I still like to test the clean channel first because that tells me the true character and nature of what to expect next from that amp. So let's hear what the clean channel sounds like. All right, now let's hear a little effects on this thing. I'm gonna add a little mod to this, so let's hear what that sounds like through the clean channel. All right, one more little test for the clean channel, then we'll move on to some crunchier and some metal tones as well. That's coming up, but I want to hear what the delay sounds like. I'm kind of looking for that outfieldish 80s type thing, so let's see if we can get that. Now we're moving up to a crunchy channel, kind of like crunchy peanut butter. Well, it's not called crunchy, it's just called crunch on here. Anyway, let's hear what that sounds like. And here's the caveat to this. I'm not gonna crank up the gain on this. I'm actually gonna leave the gain at a very modest setting. So let's hear what that sounds like. Now, let's turn up that gain on the crunch channel. Let's see if we can give this just a little bit more bite. this amp also has a little boost, so I want to hear what this booster sounds like on the crunch channel. This is that little pedal that we often put in front of our amps, like an overdrive or distortion pedal. Let's just give that a little boost and see what comes out. Lastly, I always like to add some delay to my leads, so let's see what a little delay sounds like on this channel as well. And then we're going to move up to some heavier channels. Now we're moving up to the lead channel, and I'm kind of expecting some really kind of classic heavy metal sounds to come from this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start out by backing the gain off a little bit. I want to see what kind of tone we get with this lead channel with the gain backed down. Of course, now we've got to boost that gain up there, so let's crank that up and hear what some more gain sounds like on the lead channel. Alright, let's turn on that little booster. Let's give it just a little boost. Remember, this is acting kind of like that overdrive in front of the amp. Gives it just a little more edge and tightens things up a bit. Let's hear what that sounds like. Lastly, for the lead channel, we're going to add some delay so we can hear what, well, the lead sounds like on the lead channel. now we're moving up to the brown channel. So you pretty much know what to expect here. I'm gonna go ahead and start out of the gate with the gain up quite a bit on here, around 7 or 8ish. Now I'm not gonna crank the gain all the way up on this channel. I did try that, and I just like the clarity that I get with this gain around the 7, 8ish, level there. That seems to sound really good for this channel, the brown channel. So let's hear what that sounds like. Now, we've got to add that little OD boost in the front here, so let's turn that on just a little bit and see if we can tighten things up and give it just a little more beef. Lastly, for the brown channel, I want to hear what this thing sounds like for some guitar solos, so we're going to turn the delay on a little bit. I always like to add delay to my solos. That's just a personal thing. I don't know if you guys like to do that. If you do, hey, leave a comment, let me know. And if you don't, leave a comment as well. But we're going to turn the delay on and play some solos with the brown channel. Now, there's one more channel we've got to check out that we haven't heard on this amp yet, and that's the acoustic channel. Now, I'm not going to go grab an acoustic. My thinking here is that it's going to give the electric guitar a little bit more of an acoustic sound, if that makes sense. So I want to see if we can capture that. Let's turn this acoustic channel on, and let's play some acoustic on electric here. Oh, and real quick, you probably want to know what guitar this is, the model and all that we use today while we're testing the Boss Katana. So this is a PRS guitar. It's actually a custom SE. And the exact model here is SE Custom 2408 EV. One of the reasons why I picked this guitar is because of the color. It's green, and this is my wife and I's birthstone, so I thought, hey, this would be pretty cool to play this guitar today, and it plays quite well. So yeah, that's the guitar we're using. Paul Reed Smith Custom SE. Now there's so much more to the Boss Katana Artist MK2 amp, and I'm going to share some of that with you. But first, I just want to give a huge thank you and shout out to the folks at Replay Guitar Exchange here in Tampa, and my good friend Cliffhanger. We always have such a cool time picking out amps and guitars and gear to share with you guys on these videos here. And no, this is not a sponsored video, but they're cool enough to let me come into their store and film content for you guys, so the least I could do is share their link. So I do have a link to Replay's website in the description of this video. They do free shipping, by the way, here in the US, so go to that link and order your next piece of gear from them. They will take care of you. Now also, if you're in the Tampa or surrounding area, it's kind of a no-brainer to go over and visit Replay. They've got a ton of just awesome amps and guitars, and they're always going to treat you right. So again, big thank you and big shout out to them. That link is in the description of this video. Now back to the Boss Katana Artist MK2 amp. I don't think I even scratched the surface on this amp, sharing what I shared with you guys. I wanted you to hear some of the tones, kind of my style of playing, of course, but yeah, there's so much more to this amp. I mean, first of all, we went through the amps, right? The acoustic, clean, what was it, crunch lead, and the brown channel, which was pretty cool. But I didn't realize till later you had this variation of those amps as well. Now come to find out, I preferred the variation that I was using, which I think that little button was off, but you've just got another platform of tones and amp styles that you can get. There's also a contour control as well. I kept it on 1, I just thought that sounded best for what I was doing, but again, just more options for different tones and different sounds. And you've got a ton of effects with this amp. I didn't dig deep into that at all. Me personally, I'm kind of like, I say this all the time, I'm like Leonard Skinner, I'm a simple man. I don't use a ton of effects, but I know a lot of people do, so you've got those options with this amp. Now, another cool thing is you can plug this amp directly into a computer and record with it. There's actually, the output actually has like a cabinet emulator. So it's set up for that. You can just plug directly in and start recording with it, which is a really cool feature to have. And that same feature can be used for headphones if you want to just play in the silence, you know. You can just throw some headphones on and it's still going to sound good because that output has like some kind of cab emulation with it. Now, one thing I want to point out about the artist here, the Boss Katana Artist. People may ask, well, what's the difference between the Artist MK2 and just the regular MK2? The Artist MK2 has the green speaker, okay? It's the Katana green speaker, which is kind of mimicking the Celestian greenback. I think it's called the G12. That's really the core difference. I mean, there's probably some other effects and sounds and stuff like that the Artist might have, but that speaker is really the core difference. And what I've noticed, I did play an MK2 a long time ago, but what I notice about this particular speaker is you do have more push. That alone just makes the amp sound really awesome, and sometimes that can make all the difference in the world with an amplifier, the type of speaker and cabinet that you have. I was actually more impressed than what I expected to be from this amp. I was expecting, well, okay, yes, it's cool, it sounds good, but I wasn't expecting that like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing in the world, you know. I mean, it's meant to be a practice amp. Now, you could gig with this amp. Not gonna lie, you could gig with this amp. I mean, it goes up to 100 watts. And most of us aren't playing these huge arenas. We're playing in small clubs or, you know, small mid-sized venues. So you could totally gig with this amp. And I'm sitting there thinking, I could gig with this amp and not have to worry about a heavy tube amp and all the pedals and cables that come with that. I could just plug into this thing and I've got everything I need. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking about that. And I wouldn't mind having something like this in my studio either, just to plug in real quick and to practice with. It's definitely a great practice amp. So yeah, I was pretty happy with it. I think it's an awesome amp. It's very versatile. You can get an array of tones, which I like, because I don't know if you're like me, but I play different styles of music. I don't just play metal all the time. Sometimes I'm playing some lighter stuff. Sometimes I even play a little country. And so this amp pretty much does everything. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts. First of all, have you played through the Boss Katana Artist MK2? leave that in the comments. And if you haven't, of course, leave that in the comments as well. And I'd like to know what you thought about the tones you heard from me. I didn't record this with anything fancy. I was gonna mic the amp, but I had some issues with my laptop and software. I'm like, screw it. I'm just gonna do it organically here. So the tones you heard weren't direct. They were just, coming out of my mic on the camera here. And I think it picked up okay. So hopefully that was okay for you guys. But yeah, leave me your comments, leave me your thoughts on this amp. I'd love to know them. And guys, thank you so much. Give this video a thumbs up. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep it metal.